The sharp voice froze every person in the crowded city square. "Don't move. Follow me." The command came not from a police officer or a bodyguard, but from a skinny 10-year-old boy in worn-out sneakers whose frightened eyes were locked on the billionaire standing beside a gleaming black limousine. Everyone thought the child was begging for money. Instead, he grabbed the millionaire's expensive sleeve with surprising urgency. Less than 30 seconds later, a delivery truck lost control, crashed through the exact spot where the billionaire had been standing, and slammed into a stone fountain, sending marble and glass flying everywhere. The billionaire stood speechless, realizing that a poor child he had never met had just saved his life. Before we begin, if you believe kindness, forgiveness, hope, and second chances still matter in this world, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone you love, and subscribe to our channel. Every story we share reminds our community that one act of compassion can change a life forever. Victor Langford had spent 40 years building one of the largest construction companies in America. Newspapers called him a genius. Investors called him fearless. Employees admired him from a distance but rarely knew the man behind the fortune. At 63, Victor had everything money could buy except peace. His wife had passed away years earlier, his only son lived overseas, and his enormous mansion echoed with silence. Every morning looked exactly the same until that spring afternoon changed everything. The boy who had saved him introduced himself only as Rowan. His clothes were faded, his backpack was patched together with tape, and his hands carried scratches from collecting recyclable bottles around the city. Yet there was nothing frightened about him after the accident. While everyone rushed toward the crashed truck, Rowan simply looked relieved that Victor was unharmed. Victor wanted to reward the child immediately, but Rowan quietly shook his head. He insisted he had only done what anyone should do. What surprised Victor even more was how the boy had known the truck was about to lose control. Rowan explained that he had heard a strange grinding sound in its brakes while it rolled down the hill. He had spent enough afternoons watching mechanics repair vehicles behind a nearby garage that he recognized the danger before anyone else noticed. The billionaire had spent decades trusting expensive consultants and highly educated executives, yet the person who saved his life was a child everyone else ignored. Curious, Victor offered to drive Rowan home. Instead of an apartment, the limousine stopped beside a small abandoned warehouse where several homeless families had created temporary shelters using blankets and plywood. Rowan's face showed embarrassment rather than fear. He admitted he lived there with his younger sister, Clara, after losing both parents in a factory fire 3 years earlier. Every afternoon he collected bottles, delivered groceries, and fixed old bicycles to buy enough food for them both. Victor stepped out of the limousine, ignoring the horrified expressions of his security team. For the first time in years, he saw poverty not through financial reports but through human faces. Children laughed with broken toys. Mothers cooked simple meals over portable stoves. Elderly people smiled despite owning almost nothing. Clara rushed toward her brother with a drawing she had made using worn crayons. She thanked Victor for bringing Rowan home safely without realizing who he was. Her innocence reminded Victor of the daughter he had lost shortly after birth decades earlier because of a rare illness. The memory he had buried for years suddenly returned with painful clarity. That evening, Victor could not stop thinking about the children. The next morning, instead of attending his first meeting, he returned alone with breakfast for everyone living in the warehouse. Some suspected it was a publicity stunt until they realized no reporters had been invited. Victor spent hours listening rather than speaking. Every family carried a different tragedy, but Rowan never complained about his own hardships. His greatest concern was finding enough money to keep Clara in school because she dreamed of becoming an artist. Over the following weeks, Victor visited almost every day. His executives became frustrated. Investors questioned why their CEO disappeared for hours without explanation. One ambitious vice president named Gregory believed the homeless children were manipulating the billionaire. Determined to prove it, Gregory secretly hired investigators to dig into Rowan's past. Instead of uncovering lies, they found astonishing honesty. Every dollar Rowan earned was documented. He had repeatedly returned lost wallets to strangers. He had refused stolen goods offered by local gangs. Teachers remembered him as one of the brightest students before poverty forced him to leave school temporarily. Even the neighborhood mechanic described Rowan as the hardest-working child he had ever met. Gregory reluctantly admitted the boy possessed more integrity than many executives earning six-figure salaries. One sunny afternoon Victor invited Rowan to visit company headquarters. Employees whispered as the homeless boy walked through marble hallways wearing clean clothes donated by a shelter. Some quietly judged him. Others smiled kindly. Victor surprised everyone by asking Rowan to spend the day observing meetings. During one presentation about a new affordable housing project, senior executives debated complicated financial models while ignoring practical realities. Rowan timidly pointed out that many homeless families avoided shelters because parents and children were often separated. The conference room fell silent. No consultant had mentioned that. No market research had revealed that. A 10-year-old boy had identified the flaw in a billion-dollar project simply because he had lived through it. Victor immediately ordered the plans redesigned. Months later the housing project became one of the company's greatest successes, helping thousands of struggling families stay together while rebuilding their lives. The board praised Victor's vision, but he knew the real credit belonged elsewhere. As summer arrived, Victor arranged scholarships for Rowan and Clara. He refused to simply hand them money. Instead, he partnered with local organizations to provide stable housing, counseling, education, and long-term support. He wanted dignity, not dependency. Rowan returned to school where his natural talent amazed teachers. Clara filled sketchbooks with breathtaking drawings that soon earned prizes in children's art competitions. Meanwhile, Victor slowly changed as well. He began visiting construction sites instead of luxury conferences. He learned employees' names. He created scholarship programs for workers' children and expanded affordable housing initiatives across multiple cities. Journalists wondered what had transformed one of America's toughest businessmen into one of its most compassionate philanthropists. Only Victor knew the answer. One ordinary boy had reminded him that success meant nothing if it never reached those who needed hope the most. 5 years passed. Rowan graduated at the top of his class with dreams of becoming a civil engineer. Clara earned admission to one of the country's finest art academies. Neither forgot where they came from. On graduation day, Victor watched proudly from the front row. When Rowan crossed the stage, he didn't look toward photographers or television cameras. He looked directly at the man whose life he had unknowingly transformed. Victor realized something remarkable. Years earlier, everyone believed he had rescued a homeless child. The truth was exactly the opposite. Without Rowan, he would have continued living inside a mansion that felt emptier than any abandoned warehouse. Without Rowan, his company would have kept chasing profits while forgetting people. Without Rowan, he would never have discovered that the richest investment in life is compassion. During the celebration afterward, Victor quietly announced the creation of the Rowan Hope Foundation, dedicated to supporting homeless children with education, housing, and mentorship. He insisted the foundation carry Rowan's name because courage deserved to be remembered. Tears filled the eyes of employees who had once doubted the boy. Even Gregory, the skeptical executive, admitted he had judged someone without knowing their story. He later became one of the foundation's strongest supporters. Years later, thousands of families found safe homes through programs inspired by one child's bravery. Schools received scholarships. Community centers opened their doors. Children who once believed the world had forgotten them finally discovered people willing to believe in their future. Victor often returned to the city square where everything had begun. The damaged fountain had been rebuilt, but he always remembered the frightened voice that changed both of their destinies. Sometimes miracles do not arrive wearing expensive suits or carrying impressive titles. Sometimes they wear worn-out sneakers, carry patched backpacks, and possess hearts far richer than any bank account could measure. Before we end, we'd love to hear from you. What do you think was the greatest lesson in this story? Rowan's selfless courage, Victor's willingness to change, or the power of seeing value in people others ignore? Leave your answer in the comments below. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey. Remember, one small act of kindness can become the beginning of someone else's miracle, and sometimes, it becomes the beginning of your own.